Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I am good. I'm good.
That's
Had an,
good.
I had an extremely long weekend, but it's almost done.
Yeah, but it's Monday tomorrow. I don't know if you're
I'm okay.
excited.
I'm okay with it at this point.
Well, that's a first. I've never heard that one before.
Yeah.
So thank you for coming and doing this live
Of
with us.
course. Anytime.
Much
I'm excited.
appreciated.
Yes.
You're gonna be like the therapist of Face the Elephant.
Yes. Yes. The mental health aspect.
Exactly. That sector belongs to you.
Yes. I love it.
All right, so you need to give us some information about you because I leave that to the guests so they can say what they want to say about themselves.
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. My name is Kelsey. I'm also known as Pan Girl, and I'm also known as Queen of Queer Mental Health. I originally started my Instagram as like a journal, just something to like kind of put all my gay thoughts in, which was nice. And then it kind of turned into like me talking about my mental health journey. And then I realized that my journey was so relatable with so many people. And it kind of morphed into this mental health network. And now my degree is in psychology, and I focus in queer identities and human sexuality. And I live in America. If you can't tell from the way I talk.
Yeah.
I live in Louisville, Kentucky. I live here with my fiance and our two doggies and Birdie, and then my daughter Adeline. Her birthday's tomorrow.
Big family.
I know, right? She'll be 5 tomorrow.
Oh wow! Okay.
I know. So yeah, that's a bit about me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Today, well, we said we're gonna have. I mean, the people that are watching don't know this, but we talked about it. That we are going to do it as a series of mental health. So so we said today we're gonna have a shorter live, so it's going to be 30 minutes, and we're going to talk about mental health, but more of a general. To generalize it instead of being okay, let's talk about depression today and anxiety and this and that.
Right. Which we will get to. We'll eventually get to.
Yes. So as we mentioned, we probably have like 30 minutes live, and each time we can talk next time about anxiety or about depression or whatever the topic might be, or if someone wants to talk about something, yes, and give some ideas. Of course, we are open
Yeah,
to
we could do like a question box.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so we can talk about mental health today, and I leave it up to you to say anything you want. You are the expert.
Okay. So when it comes to mental health in general, there's always been like this stigma around it. It's not something that was taken very seriously for a very long time. I mean, they used to throw depressed women in with like literal crazy patients and equated that as the same.
Yeah,
And
about that.
yeah, and we finally are getting to a point now where like we're acknowledging our own mental health. We're talking about mental health. We're acknowledging that the majority of the people have something.
Yeah.
Also that, PTSD is more common than we think, and that, almost everybody has some sort of traumatic event that's happened to them in their lives, or even just like traumatic emotions or anything like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be like an assault to have PTSD. It could be something that your parents said to you when you were a kid. I mean, it's any sort of trauma, that affects you as an adult in your like day-to-day life.
Yes, what you meant that because when I was reading about it, because before we started live, I was like doing a bit of research on PTSD because I don't feel I'm educated at that part. I don't know as much because PTSD is mentioned as, oh, if you're at war or if you've gone through, as you said, a traumatic experience growing up, or obviously like in your
Right.
adult life. So it's this major thing, but as you say, it could be anything that is really small, that someone might say something that would trigger you and you will like be angry with the other person, and you're like, and the other person is like, what
Absolutely.
happened? Like, but it's
Yeah.
something that just triggered you. And I noticed that with myself, because as I mentioned when we spoke, that I do therapy the past 2 years, and you learn so much about yourself, which you didn't even know it was there, and you're amazed by what can trigger you that you didn't even think
Yes.
it
And
was there.
it's like all of a sudden something comes up and like, it's
Yes,
it's a flip of a switch and you're like, oh yeah,
that's
yeah,
why.
that's why.
And what you mentioned before about the whole stigma and everything is that if, for example, with, don't worry about it.
Sorry.
I have a dog, so I know how it is.
I'm the same. Sorry.
No,
He's
don't worry about it. No, it's fine, don't worry. But yeah, what I want to say is that if I went to my father and was like, okay, I'm doing therapy the past 2 years, he wouldn't agree at all, because he would be, okay, so what is wrong with you? Like, what, are
Right.
you like,
It's like
yeah,
something they believe that only people who are really messed up go to therapy.
yes.
When
And
in
then it would turn
reality,
into a thing like, I like, you know, I give you the best life and this and that. Why are you going to therapy? When it's nothing. I mean, I had a pretty good childhood. Like nothing happened. But it's not. It's like, it's finding yourself, learning things about you, handling things better in everyday life.
100%.
It's so many other things behind, and
So
things that,
you go to the doctor for a checkup. You get a physical.
yes.
They tell you, you know, hey, make sure you're doing more of this or less of this, because you always want to, like, you know, keep yourself in balance. Your mental health is the same way. Talking to a therapist and just being able to like keep yourself balanced and like talk it out, what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing, what thoughts are normal, what thoughts aren't normal. Like all of that is something that you should just do like yearly as a checkup, just like you would for your body. And I don't understand why we treat like body health so differently from mental health, when in reality it's just an organ. Your brain's an organ like anything else in your body, and sometimes it's off, or it's missing a chemical, or it's not enough of a chemical. It's the same exact concept, and for some reason we separate that.
I know, and I feel obviously that things are getting better, that there's more awareness and more education. Like it's not the same, as I said to you, how my parents grew up and how I'm growing up, and then the next generation is totally. I feel there's more awareness. People are talking. Obviously, you have all these famous people coming out of like, oh, I've had mental issues, but I didn't speak up because obviously I was afraid of my job. I was afraid because there was that stigma. So I feel that is changing.
It really is changing. Like my job, I work for Chewy, which is like a company in America that's for dogs and cats and pets.
Yeah.
And I work for this company now. I've been working there for like 5 months, and they are so inclusive that I have my pronouns on my ID at work. I wear a rainbow pin on my badge. Like it's the coolest thing ever to be in a work environment where it's like so accepting. And there was a time where my health insurance lapsed, and so there was like 3 or 4 months that I had no health insurance, and so I couldn't get a refill on one of my medications, and it was like my depression and my anxiety meds, and I went off of it for like a week, and I started to go into like withdrawal essentially. And like I was of course, like my mental health symptoms were terrible, but like at that point my physical health was starting to suffer and my body was literally going through withdrawal. And I told my boss, and she was like, oh my gosh, get out of here. Like, go home, take 3 days, like get your mind clear, take care of yourself. And I was just, it was like a whole new experience. Like I was in the army. So obviously in the army, like they don't.
You were in the army?
I was, yeah.
Oh wow, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so like having, you know, growing up with different employers and now being at a company that was like so accepting and loving of me and was like, no, go take care of your brain.
Yeah,
I was like, what is
relax.
this? I was like, oh
Yeah.
my God, thank you.
Yes, different worlds, yes.
It
Uh,
is. It is. I'm
but
grateful. I'm grateful that it's changing.
mm, but wait 1 minute because I saw Katerina wrote something.
People
People,
even
yeah,
yeah, and it's
yeah.
really not anything to be ashamed of because in reality, I think it's such like a it's more of a brave act. It's more of like a you know what there's something not okay and I want to be the best version of myself and this something is keeping me from being the best version of me. So I need to fix that. And I know that like especially people when they're very depressed, it's hard to want to do anything for yourself. You've already, you know, kind of given up and cut that off. We'll get into depression, guys. Don't worry.
Yes. On the next slide, we will. But
Yes.
what I wanted to mention with that is that because I've had this conversation with friends, and not only I see it. I mean, obviously, I notice it more because I do therapy now, but it's people don't focus as much on the mental health because it's like, okay, I will go to the gym, be like, you know, have the packs, the abs, all that, but like you won't see your mental health. And you will go and spend money, I don't know, 300 pounds on shopping or to do your hair, do your nails, do this, do that, obviously, and spend all that money. And then they're like, I don't have money to go to therapy.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, and it's like,
It's like,
that's
you know, that feeling that you're like trying to fill that void that you're filling with
yes,
shopping, you could be filling with a therapist.
exactly, because that's just, you know, material. It's gonna be there. You're gonna use it. You probably might even use it once and just leave it. No, like put the effort and the money, and
Yes.
the
And do
you
it.
know, yes, exactly. And now of the days we're living, there are so many options that you could even do it without money, because
Yes.
yes, there's
I,
so many.
my Instagram, I have I have something called the Black Heart policy. And if
Oh, I
anybody
love
messes,
that. I saw it. I saw when you did a live with Ria, and you said
yes.
about, and I was like, I keep saying it to people. I was like, oh my god, that was amazing. Tell us what it is.
Okay. So I have something called the Black Heart policy, and that's like if you are like just really not okay, if you're having a bad mental health time, if you are feeling like self-harming, if you are having suicidal ideations, if you just came out and you're struggling with, you know, your identity with your family, or you're struggling with anything, and it's a moment of panic or, you know, a real dire need, I want you to reach out to me. And all you have to do is send me a Black Heart, and I will get back to you as soon as I see it. And I will do whatever I can to help you through that problem. And it's something that, especially queer people, we have kind of our own set of issues. And so sometimes, like, you can go to a therapist and whatnot. But if they don't have any sort of idea of what you go through on a day-to-day basis, or they have nobody in their life that is queer or like you, it's very hard for them to ever be able to put themselves in your shoes. And so a lot of queer people want to go to somebody who understands what they're talking about, and
Yeah.
off the bat they know that you're not going to be judged because you're gay. Like, the person that you're talking to is the same exact way as you are. And I want people to know that I'm like open to everything and anything, and that my inbox is there because I made this, like I said, essentially to originally just be a journal. It was just somewhere to keep my gay mental health stuff, and I ended up finding so many people that related to it. And so now it's kind of come to this place now that I finished my degree in the time that I did all this. And I just realized that if I got through it and I'm healthy now, and I was one of those people that was self-harming, and I was one that had the suicidal ideations often. I'm the one that went through all the different kinds of medications, trying to find what works. I mean, I've been married to a man, divorced, and with multiple women. I mean, life is crazy, but I want to be there for people when they need somebody who gets it, because that's not always an option.
That's amazing. Like when I told you, I can't stop saying it to people because I find it so amazing because people, yes, they might want to help, okay, but they won't actually do something about it. So they're like, yeah, okay, if you come and you spend $100, yes, I will help you. But actually offering without, waiting, obviously. I mean, yes, you need to get
Yeah.
paid. I get that. You need to live also. You need the money. But giving the option of like, look, if you're like in a really bad place, just send me the black card and I will respond. And I find that amazing because, I mean, that's the whole point. I don't know. I find that that's the whole point of living and being in this world, of helping each other and making the world a better place.
Yeah, is leaving positive impacts on people.
Yes, and it's not always about the money. I get, yes, we
No.
have to live and we need to survive. We need the money. But if you can do, even if it's like a small thing, why not?
It makes me feel like I have a purpose also. Like it makes me feel good when I'm able to help other people. And if this is, what I'm educated in, and, I went through all the shit that I did in my past to be able to be here now, then so be it. And that's okay. It is what it is. And I think that as long as you're making positive impacts on people, you're doing okay.
You're in a good place. Yes, continue.
Yes. Good vibes. Good vibes.
I will ask you one question that someone
Yeah.
sent me, because we don't have a lot of time. But obviously,
Yeah,
as we said, we're going to have. But I feel it's a good one on mental health, which is how do you know when a mental issue starts to show up, and when should you ask for help?
Okay, so noticing a mental issue is usually something that somebody close to you will notice first. Usually you don't notice it first.
Okay, yeah.
It'll be a friend or whatever. It's be like, what's up with you? Like, or that's weird. Why did you just do that? Like, I know when my depression flares up, I stop texting people back. And that's not like me. Like, if I'm in a good place and you text me, I'm texting you back. And so, like, I know my mom knows that if she texts me and I don't respond, like within 24 hours, she knows something's up, and she'll reach out to my fiance and be like, Jennifer, what's up with Kelsey? Is she taking her meds? Is everything okay? Like, and then I really noticed it, like with my specific mental health issues, like how frequent my anxiety attacks are is when I would say, like, when you need to reach out for help. If you're having like a panic attack like more than once a month, that's something you should probably get medicated for. And if you are having depressive episodes that keep you from your family, that keep you from your goals, if you are hiding away in bed all day, if you suddenly lose interest in the things that you love, those are huge signs of depression. And a lot of times, like, you won't even know why. You just feel like it'll feel weird to everybody else, but it'll just be so blasé to you. And that's when you realize that, like, you're kind of detaching. So that's really another big trigger sign for me. But also I think that, like, there's no bad time to reach out for help. Like, if you're having any sort of mental health thoughts, like if you like had some weird rash on your arm, you'd be like, that's weird. It's not hurting me at the moment, but that's kind of weird.
Yeah, you wouldn't just leave.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, you wouldn't just be like,
yep. Yeah.
Like,
fine.
No.
It will fall off.
You'd be like, these are some weird boils on my arm. I should go check that out. Like, it's the same concept. When you start to feel like something is off with your personality, with your goals and the things that you set for yourself, that's when you just kind of need to take a step back and do a little self-evaluation. It's, if you live with somebody, ask them, be like, do you feel like I've been weird or off or, distant? Because a lot of times, people don't want to tell you, like, you're kind of being an asshole lately. Like, that's not
that's true.
right. So it kind of opens the door to be like, hey, am I doing anything or acting a certain way? And then that gives them that open door to be like, actually, like, you haven't done the dishes in a week. Like, you'd be like, yeah, I haven't showered in a week either. That's depression.
How do you recognize though? I mean, we don't have a lot of time, but I don't know if you can. How do you recognize some, like, between sadness and depression? Like, because a lot of the times people are like, oh, I'm depressed. Like, but it's just, you're just having a bad day. It's not, oh, you're having a bad week. Like, how do you understand?
So sadness is usually created by an event.
Okay.
Whereas depression is not usually created by an event. It's just a feeling that comes. It's not usually triggered, essentially. Depression can be triggered, no doubt. But sadness is like something we feel when there's something wrong. Something happens that makes us sad. Something, a thought that we have or an action that somebody takes, whatever, that creates sadness. With depression, there's nothing that has to happen to create depression. So when you're feeling sad and you realize there's really no reason for it, or if you're feeling like detached or like lack of enjoyment from the things you used to love, that's all depression. And so if there's not a reason behind it, if there's no like immediate reason for the sadness that somebody can be like, oh no, I'm feeling this way because my pet just died. Like they'd be like, oh, of course you're sad. Like, and you might be sad for a week because that's your pet, that's your baby, but that was an event. If you're sad for a week and nothing's changed in your life, there's been no experience in that moment, and there's been no trigger, because obviously PTSD wise, that can be triggered. If there's something that happens that reminds you of a traumatic event, that can cause your anxiety and your depression to flare up. But depression itself is a lack of chemicals in your brain. And usually it doesn't need a reason to happen.
Okay. I don't have a lot of time. I have like 5 minutes with you.
That's okay. It's okay. We're going to have all the time.
Yes. But I mean, obviously, if someone wants to ask something, but we're going to have another live.
And we'll make sure we put questions up that we can like address specifically. We can do like a Q&A too.
Yes, that would be great. But
yes, that's the worst. And you're like, bitch, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
It's not a choice. Like,
right. And I remember like in high school telling my mom I was depressed, and she was like, you're pretty, you're smart, you're good at sports. Like, stop. She's like, stop trying to get attention. Why are you trying to get attention? And I'm like, okay, never mind. Like,
it's okay. Put it on the rag. Put it on the rag.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll just feel this way for no reason. Cool. And it's it invalidates the feelings that you're having. And it's so frustrating because you're like, wow, my life really is pretty great. What the fuck is wrong with me?
Yeah.
But
yes, I agree, because the thing is that if you think about people that every day also, because yes, you have a house, you have food, you have this and that, but also people that are like filthy rich and are like, they have the fame, they have the money and everything. And that, I don't know, 90% probably of them suffer from mental health. And everyone, I hate when I hear that. I mean, yes, if I had like $1 million and the fame, I think, I bet I would be depressed. Like, it must be awful. And people like make fun of it. So then I totally understand why people don't want to come out and say it. I'm talking about famous people and not famous people, because when you hear that response from, if you're out with friends or anything, you're not giving space for the other person to actually share that. And
100%.
It's not about having the money and the fame. Yes, everyone wants that, but
it's a chemical imbalance. there's nothing, no thing in the world can change that except for medication. Except for adding chemicals to your brain and then learning how to cope with it. I think people try to minimize your feelings just because it's easier for them to deal with you. So actually, I think that it's not that it's easier for them to deal with you. It's that they have no understanding. They don't have empathy for you because they've never been in that position, or they've never understood those feelings, or they don't truly know the extent of your life. And so what you're feeling, you may not be sharing the full extent of. And so people are minimizing, you know, the things that you're telling them. And what they really, especially my mom did this for the longest time. She would just be like, oh, you're fine. Everything's fine. Come on, let's go. You're fine. Everything's fine. And, you know, that's not a healthy way to deal with it at all. And it wasn't because my mom, you know, was trying to minimize me and make it easier for her to deal with me. It was because my mom didn't know how to help. She didn't know what to say except for everything's going to be okay, because she's my mom. She wasn't a therapist. She's not a psychologist. People
and it's like, it's like what we said, that it was a different generation, so obviously they don't know also.
I don't think it's about minimizing your feelings as much as it's like not understanding how deep they truly are.
But it's what I said, like, she's also commented that when I did,
hi.
when I did the live with her, I think it was like 2 weeks ago. Yes. So she came out and said about her eating disorders. And I mean, it was an honor for me because she didn't say it to her friends or no one, and she actually said it at the live, which that's amazing for someone to do that, and like, you know, you to be the person that they do it. But what I wanted to say is, what I loved what she said is that she came out, she told her parents like 2 days before the live, so that's the only people she said it to. And I loved the reaction of her parents, because her dad said to her, I feel this is the best answer, and everyone needs to take from that, okay, so what can I do? I'm here for you. Like, what can I do?
How can I help?
How can I help? Yes, that's amazing, because that's what we were saying when I did the live with her, that a lot of people don't know how to deal with things. Eating disorders, it's something that, you know, if you don't have someone like really close, usually you don't know anything about it. But if you don't, if you don't know, or Google it, like get educated about the topic.
Yes, educate yourself. Educate.
Exactly. Then go back to your friend and be like, okay, look, this and that, like, but that's the best question, is how can I help? Not judge, not like, oh, come on, you have such an amazing life. It's fine.
We don't need you to tell us how to fix it. We just want you to say, I'm here for you. What can I do? Like, that's it. So easy to just.
I know, it's so simple, instead of being judgmental, or you have an amazing life, or why you doing a big deal, you're overreacting, this and that. It's just that. And then the other person, and you don't have to pretend you are know-it-all. Just
no, you can,
because it makes it worse.
I know nothing about this, but let me do some research and get back to you. Like, you don't. I know.
All right, our time is up, unfortunately, but
I'm sorry, guys. We will do an hour for the rest of the time.
Yes.
It's
okay. You know, it's better. What can I do is the best support. Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
But yes, what I was going to say, it's better because people got a little taste from you.
Yeah.
And now they're excited. Now they're pumped. Now they're pumped for next time, you see. So it's good that you can only do 30 minutes. And obviously, whoever wants, you guys can DM me and say, like, I won't talk about anxiety, this and that. Ask, you know, send me questions, anything.
For sure.
And then we will plan the next live.
Okay.
Thank you so much for today. It was amazing.
You so much.
I'm like, oh my God, I wish I had like 3 hours of live now with you.
We will. It'll eventually be 3 hours altogether.
Yes. We would do a marathon one day.
Yes.
But yes. Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening.
Of course. You too.
Stay tuned.
I'll try. You too.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.